Go and click on File, then Export, then Movie. Now go and click on Settings. Now under File Type here, you can see you have several options. I recommend just sticking with Microsoft AVI. You can always convert it afterwards, and this will keep it easy to manage. Next we have the range. Now if you want the entire project exported, just leave it on entire sequence. However, if you only want a specific section exported, you want to select Work Area Bar. And actually, I didn't cover how to use this, so let's go and cancel out of here for a minute. Okay, you see this grayish purple bar here? That's your work bar. It normally defaults to the length of your entire project. But let's say I wanted to save the part with the title on it. What you would do is put the scrubber where you want the clip to start. Now hold down the Alt key, then press the left bracket key on your keyboard. Notice how that changed where it starts? And now you can probably guess how to change where it ends. Move it over to your ending, then press Alt and the right bracket key this time. And that's your workspace bar. Okay, let's head back over to exporting this. Go to File, Export, Movie, and back to Settings. And now under Range, if you want a specific part exported, there you go. I'm going to leave it on entire sequence, but it's useful to know about that feature. Okay, next I'll click on Compile Settings. I'm actually not sure if this makes any difference to the file for what we're doing, but I usually uncheck the options here anyway. Now you also have the option if you want to export the audio and video, which you probably do. Under Embedding Options, again, I'm not 100% on what this does, but I usually change it to none just in case Premiere is adding extra data to our AVI that we don't need. I also usually uncheck Add to Project when finished. This adds the final clip to your media window like the other files. Since I'll typically export AVIs as previews, it can get a little clustered saving a copy of every one in there. Okay, now click on the video menu. First we have Compressor, and if you click here you see we have several options, including HuffUV and Xvid like we discussed earlier. I trust none of these. I've seen Premiere screw up encodings of Windows Media Video, HuffUV, and especially Xvid. Maybe some of these do work correctly, or they fix things in later versions. But I've run into too many bugs and visual artifacts using the encoder in Premiere. The only compression setting I recommend using is none. This will make your file size as large as it can get, but you can be assured it will look the way it's supposed to, and almost all video encoding programs can compress a raw AVI. Color depth it's best to leave to millions for maximum quality. Next you have frame size. Mine's already set at 800 by 600. This can be useful to change if you want a smaller preview. So you could lower this to 320 by 240 if you wanted and get a smaller version that way. I'll leave it as it is. Make sure your frame rate is set to what it's supposed to be, and make sure you're using square pixels. And I don't think this matters because we won't be compressing the footage, but I usually uncheck the recompress option too. Okay, now click on Keyframe and Rendering. And for bit depth, the project setting or maximum should both be fine. And for fields, double check to make sure it's set to No Fields Progressive Scan. Otherwise, it can introduce interlacing on your footage, which you don't want. Now click on Audio, and the default settings here should be fine. Uncompressed, 44.1 kHz, 16-bit, stereo. And the interleaving just refers to how it gets muxed. One frame should be fine. And that's it for settings, so click on OK. Now you can pick a name for your clip and where to save it. Since this is just a demonstration, I'll use the default values. Now click on Save. And that's how you save your final clip. The more complex your processing is, the longer the rendering will take. After it's done, you can compress it using any encoder you want. I won't be showing you how to encode your final clip, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in the conclusion of this guide. For now, I'm going to cover one more video editor, then we're done.